trying to get people to the point they realize that if you're praying to God, then you've separated yourself. Problem. You've already lost this continuity of this oneness. So don't pray to God. Realize God's within. You are one with the source. So when you're doing these prayers, even though I don't know if I say that so much in the book, but when I was writing it, that was my intentions. When you're saying these prayers, you're really giving affirmations to yourself. It's all about yourself. And it's like this concept of if you love yourself, then you are loving your enemy in some cases, because a lot of people think that's the worst enemies themselves, behavior. And you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. So it's important to love yourself. And I'm telling people, well, God is yourself. And what's that say? Well, if I love me, I love God. If I love God, I love me.
Yeah.
And if I love me and I love God, that means I love my neighbor, I love my enemy.
Yep.
What don't I love? So that's kind of like, the basic thing in the background.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie. We are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. We have a very special return guest here with us today, and I'm stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Hey, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. Justin here. Welcome to Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together.
And I'm Leslie, your co-host, also known as Light Being Love, an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And we're very happy to have Reverend Bill back with us today. Reverend Bill?
Well, actually, since all time is now, I've never left.
That is true,
there you
too.
go.
I'm still trying to wrap my brain around
continuing this
that.
conversation where we left off into the interdimensional spaces there, wherever that may be.
I love that
Absolutely.
you brought that up. You always challenge my thinking, Reverend Bill. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so here we go. Join us as we welcome Reverend Bill McDonald, a true spiritual trailblazer. From his humble beginnings in San Francisco to becoming an author, award-winning poet, actor, yoga meditation teacher, and a decorated Vietnam War veteran, Reverend Bill has lived an extraordinary life dedicated to seeking the divine and sharing the power of love. With over 7 decades of mystical experiences, including 3 near-death experiences and countless encounters with the supernatural, Reverend Bill's journey has taken him across the globe from India to the Hawaiian Islands and all over the place. In this episode, we'll dive deep into his latest book titled I Remember Tomorrow, a heartfelt exploration of love, forgiveness, and the resilience of the human spirit. Reverend Bill shares transformative stories from battling cancer and heart attacks to navigating the shifts of the COVID-19 era, all while illuminating the incredible power of light and healing. Expect stories of mystical events, spiritual revelations, and healing miracles that will leave you inspired and uplifted. Reverend Bill's message is simple yet profound. Love is the only thing that is truly real. Reverend Bill, thank you so much for being back with us.
I'll tell you one thing,
because you never left.
The reality is there is no reality, right? But in the non-world of reality, I actually created 4 books in the last 2 months, if you can believe that.
Wow.
So I this latest one, this is another memoir. I Remember Tomorrow. Think about the title. I mean, it says a lot if you really had.
When I first read it, that threw me for a loop. I'm like, how do you remember something that hasn't happened yet? And then the whole time isn't linear thing smacked me.
Reverend Bill walks in the room, doesn't know why he's there. He doesn't remember where his keys are at, and yet he remembers tomorrow. But I thought that was an appropriate title, especially during the time I really started working on this book was during COVID.
Okay.
And there was all that negative energy out there and everybody's worried about tomorrow and all this stuff. But I always had this sunshine look. I I know tomorrow's going to be, there's light. It's sunshine's coming. We're going to get past this. We're going to get through this. That's partial meaning. But the real meaning is literally, I do remember tomorrow. And that's just as easy as remembering now. There is no time and space differential. It's all now, which is an overused phrase. But I don't think people really realize exactly when you say there's only now. Because what I'm saying is your past lives, if you believe in past lives, you've had them. They're simultaneously going on with you right now. All these alternate futures that you could have taken, it's all going on now in this moment. The only thing you know about, because you're focused on this moment, is this reality.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, none of it's real. So we'll go down that rabbit hole later.
Okay.
A little bit about this book, because I decided to write a book that's both hopeful, but it also takes on some deeper, darker issues. The basic theme, besides love and forgiveness in this book, which is the underscoring thing, but it also deals with the battle of light against dark. Those people that are on a pursuit of enlightenment, empowerment of their heart and soul, that are trying to change the frequency of the world, these people that are becoming these bright frequencies around the world, they're finding resistance on the dark side. There is a dark side. There is evil. There is an energy that's baser, darker, and uglier. And it's simultaneously in this world where you got people that are on the other end. There's always a balance. So if you got highly evolved beings, you also have some highly devolved beings at the other end of things with power. You know, just because something's dark and evil doesn't mean it doesn't have power. It has a different frequency. And I mean, just take a look at history. You had crazy Adolf Hitler doing all these terrible things, and you had Mahatma Gandhi over there in India doing this peaceful thing. I mean, there was a balance in the universe. And right now what we have is this ongoing battle. So I talk a little bit about that in this book with my trips to the UK, to Wales, and to England, and going to Stonehenge, and some crazy stuff, and my life being threatened and almost killed, and all kinds of weird stuff last year. And it's an ongoing thing. And the brighter my light tries to shine, the more I try to help, the more I try to do things, there's like this opposition. And you take a look at anybody who's doing anything good for the world, the opposition grows. Well, think about this. Let's go back to, says Christmas is coming. You got Jesus, right?
Yeah.
I would think that was a bright, shining light in the darkness. And a brighter his light shined, what happened? It came after him. And you would think, well, Jesus, people must have really loved and appreciated him. He healed 10 blind men, 10 guys that are blind. 9 of them walked away. Only 1 said, thank you, Jesus.
Really?
So think about that. Next time nobody appreciates you, you think, well,
Rude.
Jesus was only batting 10%.
Jeez.
Yeah.
10%, right? Of gratitude.
You'd think the gift of sight would at least warrant a thank you.
And then when they ask the general public, who should I save, this thief or this Jesus guy, right? And the public goes, save the thief. Well, that's the history of mankind. We're always saving the thieves and the con artists, and some of the good guys get left aside. So
Jeez.
just because the majority feels a certain way doesn't mean that's the way of love, or that's the way of goodness, or that's the good thing or the right thing.
Yeah.
So my book kind of explores these possibilities through, of course, in my world, personal stories and adventures and events and things. I talk about healing, the power of love to heal. That's thematic throughout the book. But the last 20% of the book, I call that part of the book other voices.
Okay.
It's stuff that other people say about me.
Okay.
That I don't dare project out there and say, hey, I believed, I'm this, I'm that. And I said, you know what? Let the crazy people speak. And so I put it out there. And it's it entails my readings, my naughty palm leaf readings, and the interpretation, everything, a channeling in Hawaii by Kahuna, and who I am, what my purpose is, and a reading by Eric Starwalker, this shaman up in Mount Shasta, that called me up and did this reading for me and gifted me, and he talks about my purpose and why I'm here and all that stuff. And so I thought, that's interesting. If I say these things, it's not going to be right. So I just take what they say and I put it in the last part of the book, all these things and predictions. And then I share one or two emails from people and stuff and talk about healings and things. But some of the things that people have actually said, palm readers, what they've said, all this stuff. And what's interesting is all these different readings I've had for years, all independent. They're all basically saying the same thing.
They're tapping into something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm this love guru guy, it's like
this love guru guy. It's a good title to have.
And basically Starwalker and a couple of these other people basically said that I'm here this lifetime not to wear the robes, not to have people bow down, not to people worship, but to appear to be an ordinary person and do these clandestinely, these extraordinary things. So that's what they're saying. So I just put it in there. And
that's cool to have other people's perspectives.
Yeah. You be your own judge. It's either crazy or not. So that's part of the book. Okay. So I remember tomorrow. And what's interesting is I was on this world journey this year and I was traveling everywhere. And I think I was gone from home 80 days this year.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
About 50 minute roll where I went to like 5 countries, and did 24 workshops. Some of the workshops were 3 days long. Some were 8 hours. Some were 16. Some were 3 hours, 2 hours. So 24, but it was like almost every other day I was doing something.
You're a busy guy.
and so then I came back, I landed in Iceland and I go, that's it. I'm tired. I got to go home. I got to Iceland. I'd love to spend some, no, I got to go home. So I fly home and then I had, from all that travel, I reawoke within me this gut problem that from eating all that good European food, it's eating 3 meals a day, which I never do. I usually eat 1 meal a day. And all those years of traveling to South America, to Asia, to India, to all these third world countries, my gut was full of worms and bugs and bacteria and viruses and you name it, right?
Yeah.
So I went to a Chinese medicine person and she performed all these, I'm talking 2 months of work between acupuncture, colon cleansings, which sounds just like what it is, and all kinds of other crazy stuff and upping and all this stuff. And I never felt better in my life. It was like cleaning out the gut.
You detoxed kind of, right?
That would affect the fog in my mind. It's like all of a sudden I was clear-headed. I was inspired.
Oh, wow.
Finished that and sat down in 2 months, wrote this book, I Remember Tomorrow, wrote a 200-some page book of poetry called Sacred Verses.
Ooh.
And that's just rolled out. It's all these beautiful, it's not this rhyming stuff. It's more Bob Dylan, hippie beatnik kind of.
Okay.
I need to check that out.
Yeah.
And the people that have read it, I'm getting rave reviews.
Cool.
So I wrote that. And then I decided to write a book for me because people always coming to me, pray for me. How do I pray for this? I said, you know what? I'm going to write a book on how to pray. And here's some basic prayers and blessings without any spiritual religious dogma. No Jesus, no Buddha, no nothing. Okay. Heavenly Father as close as we get.
Okay.
The divine presence, the creator of the force, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So it's all done. You could add your own religious dogma to it if you want. But basically, here's a prayer for your mother when she dies, or your father. Here's for birth. Here's for somebody that's unemployed. Here's for somebody that needs mental health. Here's for somebody that's trying to overcome addictions. I wrote a prayer and a blessing for a sundry of subjects.
Wow. I love that. That's
and
great.
I thought, well,
yeah, that's really
said,
amazing.
I said maybe 10 people that are following me that want to do what I'm doing. Maybe 10 people buy the book.
Hey,
well, the
man,
book's been out
ripples.
less than a week.
Ripples.
Oh, how it's doing well.
It is. Let's see. Yesterday it was number 42 on the top 100 list on Amazon for
Wow.
spiritual, biblical, prayer books and all that stuff. So you figure they got millions of copies and titles, and I'm going against all these Christians.
Yeah,
and
sure.
everybody else. 42 without any ads, 0 ads, no push, no extra, no publicity other than my Facebook page. Here it is. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting. Those 3 books that I put out this month, the one that's selling the most is the one I wrote off as not going to sell anything.
As the one that's just for, yeah.
And that's the one that's taking off. It's like, I'm getting religious people, non-religious people, ministers, guys in jail, all kinds of people buying this book. And I'm going, really? Because I've really made it. I wasn't sure who was going to need it.
I think it's probably appealing.
I even tell you how's the right way to pray, And
I think it's probably appealing to a lot of people because it's stripped of that dogma. I feel like dogma really turns people off. So if it's like a generalized kind of thing, obviously it can appeal to more people.
And you can adapt it. And you can adapt it, put your stuff in anywhere you want.
Sure.
So I thought, most people really don't know how to pray, for Thanksgiving dinner, for somebody that's unemployed, somebody that's dying.
Sure.
So I kind of covered the bases, this kind of thing. And I didn't put anything about Christmas in there, Easter. I kind of kept it. If you want those, go to your own religion.
Yeah.
So,
I for one think the power of prayer is awesome. And I think more and more people are realizing that and want to, feel the need to start praying, even if they're not part of religion. So that could be another reason why it's doing so well. And yeah, I think that's awesome. I love that people.
Well, I'm trying to get people to the point they realize that if you're praying to God, then you separated yourself. Problem. You've already lost this continuity, this oneness. So don't pray to God. Realize God's within. You are one with the source. So when you're doing these prayers, even though I don't know if I say that so much in the book, but when I was writing it, that was my intentions. When you're saying these prayers, you're really giving affirmations to yourself. It's all about yourself. And it's like this concept of if you love yourself, then you are loving your enemy in some cases, because a lot of people think that's the worst enemies themselves, behavior. And you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. So it's important to love yourself. And I'm telling people, well, God is yourself. And what's that say? Well, if I love me, I love God. If I love God, I love me.
Yeah.
And if I love me and I love God, that means I love my neighbor. I love my enemy.
Yep.
What don't I love? So that's kind of like, the basic thing in the background. So then I still had all this energy, remember, from this treatment, going through this Chinese, all this.
Yeah. You got detox.
And my mind was like, I was sitting down at my computer, with my keyboard, and realized I've written over a dozen books, and every one finger on each hand. And I don't know, if you ask me where a key's at, I can't tell you. I do this. My books are like 60,000, 150,000, Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of words, right?
Yeah.
I'm whipping out like 300 some thousand words to write these four books, right? And one letter at a time.
Wow.
But it was flowing. I didn't stop to question anything. In fact, I went further. I finally finished those 3 I talked about: the book on prayer and blessings, the memoir, I Remember Tomorrow, and then the poetry book, Sacred Verses. And then I go, you know what? All these people are asking me questions all the time. Like, is there a God? Well, we'll talk about the next interview. Is there reincarnation? How do I become a better husband? I help everybody. Nobody helps me back. What's going on? It's about all these things that, from practical everyday life 101 questions to what's a rainbow body experience to is there life out there other than us? All these kind of things. And I put a series of what I call spiritual essays together, over 200 and some pages of spiritual essays in a book I call Cosmic Chronicles.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
That's coming out January 25th, I think.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Exclusive sneak peek stuff.
It's at the publisher now, but it's being sat on because you can't market 4 new books at the same time. Bad enough, my
Right.
books
Right.
have been
Right.
3 or 4 months apart. But
Yeah.
there was a part of me that says, it's burning. I got to get this out, right?
Sure.
Right. Right.
And they were different. Like, one book's a memoir and,
Mhm.
and the next book is what's poetry. That's totally different. And then the prayer book, I thought, well,
That's totally different.
Yeah,
too,
that's cool.
but this Cosmic Chronicles,
Okay.
I take some, and we're going to discuss that in the next interview because we're going to discuss a couple of questions I did. So what I did was I went to my YouTube videos and saw some of the questions I've answered. That was easy to pull that and, redefine it and edit it. And then I took questions that people had answered me on email that I happened to have, and I re-edited those. And then some that have been asked that I never really put down into words. And I go, well, what would I say to this person? And so I surprised myself when I went back to reread it weeks after writing it. I'm going, my God, who the hell wrote
You
this?
were impressed with it, right?
I was impressed. I got to meet this guy.
Right.
I think you were. Yeah, he was like flowing with some
Yeah, in the
downloads
flow
or something.
state, for
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And inspiration
It was
flowing through.
Same feeling I had when I went back and I read my poetry, because the poetry is just really, really out there, like meeting a guru on a dirt road, in India, and it's like, but it's with all kinds of symbolism, but it's simple. When I wrote my books, I got this editing program. On the editing program, for grammar and all that stuff. But I asked it to do one more thing. I said, edit my book down to high school level understanding without losing the meanings, right? Because I get carried away at times. It's like, I can just show off my 2 college degrees. Let's just type this thing. And, I know these. And then I go, no, if you're going to communicate with people, I don't want them going to this, to the dictionary or going to a thesaurus to figure out. I want it to just flow in natural thought, natural word price. What would a natural person say?
Mm-hmm.
I want them to understand. The whole idea of communicating is to make it
Understandable.
relatable.
Yes.
So I did that. So, because I hate reading academic papers.
Yeah.
So, so I attempted a couple of things. I'm going, this is academic, man. I'm sorry. I got to write it down. And then when it's simplified, it was easier to understand.
Good.
Yep.
It was like, okay, I'll give you an example that in my cosmic thing. In my book here, in one of the pages here, I got this.
Dedication.
No, on the side there, the McDonald's theory of love and oneness. Now I read this, and it meant great to me,
Uh-huh.
And then I started getting questions from people, so I addressed that in the Cosmic Chronicles. I thought,
Okay.
page after page explaining this. But here's the basic premise. This is written like I would be talking to him, and this is where I didn't dummy this down. All right, so here's me. This is my theory, McDonald's theory of love and oneness. In the big picture of life, there's a deep and unexplainable connection that goes beyond the ideas of relativity and gravity. This connection represents the energy of the universe and the essence of the divine. It is a beautiful harmony that brings everything together as one. In this vast universe, the only true force is love. Every part of reality reflects this original light energy. Everything in existence comes from a single source of divine love, woven together by the threads of infinite light. In this cosmic dance, everything is connected, and that connection is divine love itself.
Mm-hmm.
Love is the eternal creator, and is the same as you call God. Everything is made in the image of God, which means that everything carries the essence of love and is born from its embrace. So I thought that was simple. Then people read that and they go, well, So I wrote several pages on that, and it gets even deeper and more beautiful. But I realized then, I go, sometimes, that says it.
Yeah.
But you got to think a little bit about that, right? So
It's good to make people think, though.
Mhm.
It is.
I like that last part that I think people responded when I said, it's the essence of the divine, everything's essence of the divine embrace, right?
Mhm.
It's like, and that should have been it. That's all I could have said, right? Just, it's just an embrace of love and God. Anyway, so that's what's coming on my horizon.
Okay.
4
Awesome.
books,
Yep.
Yeah.
one coming out January, Cosmic Chronicles, which will explain that.
Okay.
I Remember Tomorrow, which is a memoir which deals with the war between, thank you, there you go.
I just bought it while we were sitting
Yeah,
here.
while you were talking, he's over here
I
on his
ordered
phone
it.
buying the
Good,
book.
And I got a money back guarantee.
Okay.
And if you meet me another lifetime, you could say, hey, you guaranteed me that. Okay, great. I'll sign it for you then.
Okay.
So, but my poetry book, I decided to have a poetry book because poetry is that artist way to the divine. Some people do it through music, to art,
Hmm.
Yeah.
sculpture, flower arranging,
YouTube videos.
dancing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of art that goes into the divine. But poetry is divine images painted with love through words.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so I
That
had to
sounds
do
so
it.
good.
So the poetry book was purely an esoteric work of my own divine need. I did it for me, to please that artist in me,
Good. Good.
Yeah.
and to feed that spiritual hunger.
I'm glad you let it all flow. I'm glad it manifested into a physical form because now other people can appreciate your downloads, your wisdom, your divine flow,
Yeah,
and your love
absolutely.
for everything and
Absolutely.
everyone. So awesome.
We
And
should.
I'll have audiobooks on all these coming out next year.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So tell us about Cosmic Chronicles that's coming out in January, you said, right? What is this
Yeah,
book?
yeah.
What is
Says
your
it's in-
intentions for this book?
Yeah, January of 2025, in case somebody's watching this 10
Yep.
years from now, and I won't be here.
Ugh.
So I don't want to, break that news, but
That's next month. Wait,
eventually I die, whether it's natural causes or my wife finally catches me
Oh, come on.
stupid or something. I don't know. But anyway, so Cosmic Chronicles is my answer to all the questions I've been asked over the years.
What
And
kind of questions?
I'm asked questions every day.
Give us an
and-
example.
Well, there was one young man, and I got a video on it, that asked me, he was taking a class at University of California in San Marcos.
Okay.
And I don't know if he was a grad student or something. He was doing his paper. His teacher was teaching about how you're raised. And if you don't have good connections with your family and your parents, it affects you your whole life. And, and so everybody buys into this psychological concept of, damaged goods. When you're young, you didn't get enough hugs and love and all that stuff. And it, channels you in a direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I disagreed with that. And this kid came to me, he says, well, I'm writing a paper on this. He says, there's this thesis that everybody accepts, in psychology, attachment theory. And I said, I believe in the divine theory, this divine attachment. And so I went through this whole thing about my explanation on it. And I told him, and I talked a little bit about the book, but I told him, I said, this is either going to get you a failing grade or an A. There's no in between. Going against what the professor teaches and believes.
Okay.
We're offering a totally different direction. No one else has gone. Because I'm telling people it's your attachment to the divine that shapes your life, not what happened to you as a child. You choose that. You choose to identify that or not. I choose to go, that's not me. I'm this. And so he presented that. He took I did a video and he shared that with his professor and he wrote a paper. And then he shared that the email he got back from his professor saying it's the first time professor's ever written one of his students to praise them on a paper that they were assigned.
Okay.
And the first time basically anybody injected to him and gave him a different theory.
Wow.
And it was the best paper he'd read from his students in 20 some years teaching at the university.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow.
He got an A, of course, right?
Okay.
So anyway, so that's the kind of things that just had to be one that had to be answered and it got a grade. I thought, so I looked at it and said, well, I got a grade of A,
Yeah.
But
Amazing.
then I talk about deeper things like the concept of killings, because the Bible says, go kill this, go get this tribe. It's like Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. I think that's the example I give. Because everybody's I believe in the Bible. I said, you believe in the Bible? You believe in Jericho? Yes, Jericho. Joshua going and killing everybody in Jericho. Yeah. God told him that's his city. Imagine believing in a God. Now I'm going to step on some toes now.
Okay.
And this God tells you to go into a town that you're not a part of. You're a stranger coming from another land. And you're going to go in there and kill every man, woman, and child and animal because God gave you that city. That's your mandate. You go kill them all. Now, Joshua wins the Battle of Jericho. The walls fall down because he plays the trumpets. Think about that in today's concept. You're what, ISIS? Is that what those guys were?
Yeah.
Those guys running around the terrace. God told them to go take all those countries and kill all the people that didn't believe like they did. What's the difference?
Exactly.
History is written by the victors, but they take that as God told this guy to go kill every man, woman, and child. Is that the God you believe in?
No.
So when it comes to killing, I write a whole thing about killing. Governments tell people it's okay to kill. We're at war. Kill this guy. Kill that guy. World War II, we dropped the atomic bombs. We're going to kill all these guys. Drop 2 atomic bombs. We're the most civilized, ethical, moral, spiritual people in the world. And yet we dropped 2. Wasn't many soldiers killed in either one of those cities. It was mostly children, schools, people, families.
Awful.
Nukes is such a prevalent thing in the UAP world right now, by the way, but keep going.
So the basic thing I'm telling people is whoever's controlling the government and the churches is making the moral decisions on killing because it changes and is defined by the government or the church. And the church is a part of that.
Yeah.
The holy wars, they're going in, killing the Muslims.
Crusades, right?
Holy lands. And think about all the wars that have been fought over that issue.
See, that's always been my biggest issue with organized religion is, I think more people have been killed
in the name of religion,
in the name of religion, in the name of God, than any other, wars or conflicts.
Well, we'll think about it on a smaller level. All these churches come back and they go, "Oh, this guy's a saint." Who was the one in France? The woman, Saint
Teresa? No.
The one that was burned at the stake.
Oh.
Joan of Arc.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Joan of Arc. Yeah, we embrace her as a saint, but they're the ones that burned her to death alive.
Yeah.
I'm going and tortured these other guys, and then they come back later and say, "Oh, they were martyrs." That's the same people that judge them to be saints later. And it's like, so there's a lot. If you really, to me.
Hashtag contradiction, right?
Yeah.
Whatever religion you follow, I'm okay with it if it makes you happy. But when you go from loving and spreading love, which I think is the true gospel, love, to these people are different than us. We have to hate them. We have to kill them. We have to keep them away. We have to separate them. They're the bad guys. They're evil. It's judgmental and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So in my new book, I tackle that with the question and everything. But one of the ones I decided to tackle because I've asked this question of numerous gurus in India. It's not a question I would ask typical religious people because every answer they get's interpreted from a book that they've read from the scriptures, and it's all an interpretation. There's no inner wisdom. I'm sorry. It's like, I read that. This was read to me. We all believe this. This is the way
it's an accepted truth, right?
You got to accept everything that's in the book, everything in the book.
Right.
So I go to India and I'm sitting in this sacred campfire, and it was like 3:30 in the morning. And I can't believe it, just me and the guru there. Everybody else, all these young people pooped out. And it's me and this guru who's about my age.
Okay.
And we're still the only 2 people awake. And I look around, it's just me and him. I said, I got a question. I mean, we've been sitting there about a half hour saying nothing, just total quiet, right? And I said, I got a question. I said, I got something that I wanted to ask, and I've been asking since I've been a child, but nobody's ever given me an answer. He says, okay, what do you got? And I said, who made God? And I thought he was going to laugh. And he goes, so I had the same question when I was younger. And he says, and I was all across the Himalayas and everywhere and all these, I've asked, and everybody's giving me the same answer. And I'm going to give it to you.
Okay.
I'm all ready, right? I'm going, oh, okay, great. And he goes, I don't know. I go, that was this guy's told. Yeah, they all said they didn't know.
That's the deep guru wisdom. I don't know.
All these guys out there, all these great guys, realized masters. I mean, they all said, I don't know. So
it's a big question.
I said, so let me throw a question to you. I said, supposedly, I said, because I believe this, I said, this life is like a dream. It's God's dreaming us, and we're in this dream. Well, is it possible that God is just a dream of another God? And he goes, it's possible. I don't know. And then he throws a question to me, and he goes, is it even possible, Bill, that there's a God dreaming that God that's dreaming that God that dreamed our God?
Where does it all end or begin?
Where does it all end? It's all Russian dolls.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a big question I explored. And then I've gotten down to some deeper issues. I go even further because I touch on that. But the last few days I've been dealing with, all religions, pretty much, and pretty much all spiritual people, they believe there is a God of some kind, right? A God of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you think that God is. And it's based on the assumption that, well, all this creation couldn't happen by itself. Something has to create it. Well, if you believe that something had to create this, then how can you believe in a God that wasn't created? What created that?
Right.
Right?
Good question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, very deep
I'm going a little
thought.
deeper on that now. So it's like, okay, so what are you saying? I'm saying that it's this one consciousness, this cosmic consciousness is God, which is love.
And that's what I think too.
And we are all that. That creates everything.
Consciousness is fundamental.
Thinking outside of the box, saying, churches, everybody believe it. There's God out there, and he sits down, decides, I'm going to make this, and I'm going to make the devil, and I'm going to make good and bad, night and day. And it's all coming from the same place. The consciousness, the one consciousness. So it even get down to a deeper issue, because I get it into people when they ask about reincarnation.
Talk about a rabbit hole. Go ahead.
I'm talking to this one guy, and he goes, well, I walked with Jesus. I was one of Jesus' disciples, and I was this, and I was that. And he was bragging, and he's written books about it and everything. And I said, and he looks at me like, you don't believe me? And I said, not only do I believe you, but I believe that everybody I know was that same person as well. He says, what do you mean? He says, there's only one. We all walked with Jesus. We were all Jesus. Well, no, I was, it was me.
You took the spotlight off of him. He didn't like that, right?
There's nobody that you are not.
Okay.
It's all one.
And it's all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So, so those are the kind of questions I explore in the book Cosmic Chronicles.
Wow.
And I had fun doing that, because I started thinking and typing at the same time, not knowing what I was going to say when I started.
Right.
Finishing it, coming back 3 weeks later, and then reading it and going,
wow,
where the hell did that come from? That's really kind of out there.
Yeah.
I put no restrictions, no filters on what I wrote. It was like, where's this going?
Okay.
Some were simple questions, but some got deep end, like talking about a rainbow body and trying to explain to people what a rainbow body is. And I don't know if it's even possible, because I attempted, if it's even possible to explain what a rainbow body is without giving up this illusion that you're separate and you're an ego and everything. Ultimately, you have to come to the place that nothing's real. It's all a dream. And when the more you shed of the I-ness I am your story, your history,
Right.
or you shed of the ego, the closer this gap between oneness and you become. And you might have moments in your life when you have a samadhi moment, an enlightening moment,
Mm-hmm.
where that line gets blurred and you're one with the tree and the rock and other people and everything else for a
Yeah.
period of time. And people go, oh, and I'm enlightened. No, you're not enlightened. You had a moment. You didn't have a forever moment. You had a moment, a break in that now to show you that it's like people talk about enlightenment. You have to talk to the old masters when I'm in the Himalayan mountains and in India and staying at ashrams. They
Yeah.
will tell you that there's degrees of enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's like taking a child in kindergarten and all of a sudden that kid is now in third grade. Well, they're more enlightened than they were. They feel like I'm enlightened. I just knew my colors. Now I can add 2 + 2. Right? I'm enlightened, right?
There's
And
still
then
a whole lot to go, though.
there's the high school level and the college level and the
Yeah.
postgraduate. And so with forms of enlightenment, it's really a sliding scale, vertical scale of vibrating energy and frequency.
Okay.
Now I'm going to get some deep shit here. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. So when you're concentrated in your lower chakras, and I think you've explained to your listeners by now they know what a chakra is, but
Yes,
your
sir.
lower chakras, your
Mhm.
base chakras, if you had a sound for that, it'd be more,
A
duller
deep-
sound versus a high frequency sound.
Right. Right. Yeah. Lower
Right.
frequency.
So as you raise your level of awareness, as you raise your energy, or as the new age people say, raising your kundalini energy, right? Okay.
Yes.
As you're raising this energy up your spine, and everybody's visualizing your spine. In reality,
It's your whole body.
it's you close your eyes and the spine is there. It's just it's a place, but it's not a place. But anyway,
Yeah.
so you raise your spiritual energy, and as you raise it, it changes the frequency, it vibrates. There's certain words, there's certain sounds that brings a reaction. For example, you can listen to a rock and roll song or a rap song, and you get a different feeling, right? Rap
Mhm.
song, you get all, you're all rattled and you're not, I would say, contemplative or meditative, right? And then you listen to Amazing Grace, and everybody listens to Amazing Grace. I don't care what your religion is. You listen to that song, and almost 99% of people who hear that song, they just get enraptured. I mean, I can't think of a better word. It just feels good. You talk about Amazing Grace and whatever. It doesn't matter what any of it means. It's just something about the sound,
Mhm.
the frequency of that sound,
Sure.
like listening to old church music that they used to sing in the Catholic Church and other churches, chants,
Yeah.
Gregorian chants.
Yep, I was
Yep.
just thinking that word, and you took it
Uh-huh.
out of my
I was
head.
too.
And what people don't realize is the Catholic priests and people that went to India early on met these Nath yogis doing these mantras and their spiritual chants, and heard the sound and the healing sound of these. And they went back and took those frequencies and they wrote Gregorian chants, in case you wonder where that came from. Gregorian chants are very much the family of what the Nath yoga tradition was. It's the same kind of frequencies.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Words,
I didn't
different
know
things,
that.
but it's the energy. And so they have these certain, 740. I mean, they got all these numbers, right? I don't know, one level frequency from another, but a tuning fork type things,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But some frequencies bring physical healing. Some bring mental healing. Some bring
Yes.
spiritual healing. Some bring you mystical experiences.
Mhm.
So it's the frequencies. Now your body, by meditation, contemplation, prayer, silence, practice of love, service.
Yeah.
These things actually change the frequency of your body.
Mm-hmm.
People say, I feel your vibration. I feel your vibe. What was
Your vibe.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
vibes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel your vibration, man. Well, you know what? they were kind of onto some, but they were on drugs. Yeah, man, I feel your vibes. But you could actually, when you're around somebody that is vibrating at a high level frequency.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can
I've
definitely
been around
feel it.
people that I'm going, whoa, this is nice, right? You could tell. And when you're around somebody that's
an energy
evil,
vampire.
Oh yeah, you definitely know.
bad energy,
Right.
Yeah.
Low vibe.
it's like you're in a biker bar. It just doesn't feel so good. I
Right.
don't feel so good. It's the opposite feeling, right?
Right.
You can tell I'm not in Bob's cave. I'm in Bob's bar downtown with motorcycle gang here. Right? It's a whole different thing, right? So we create that energy. And so I've told people in the past, because they all want to go to Babaji's cave, they all want to go to Machu Picchu, they all want to go to the Notre Dame in France, they all want to go to Tibet, they all want to go to Mount Kailash, they all want to go to
Sedona.
Kathmandu. They want to go all these places.
Yeah.
You know, to find, and in truth, they will find great energy and vibration there if they're receptive.
Mm-hmm.
And they travel all the world, and they get there, and then I tell them, I said, ultimately, when you reach a certain place of frequency, you don't have to go anywhere, because anywhere is the same place as nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere. There's only now. There's only this one space. It's nowhere or everywhere. Take your choice.
Mm-hmm.
But when you close your eyes, you could be at you could be in the Notre Dame sitting in the front row, right? Doesn't make any difference. You are the temple. You are the energy. You are the frequency. You don't have to go to the place. The place is already within. The temple of God is within. Bible tells you
Wow.
that.
Yeah, that's
The temple of God is within. Heaven's within.
mm-hmm.
And that's a greater truth than people realize. They don't really realize that. They think they got to go run off to the temple, the mosque,
Bring the mosque
church.
to you. Bring the temple to you.
It makes me
It's
think of
already
people
here.
like chasing
It's already
happiness.
here, yeah.
They just want to do things or gain things to create
Yeah,
their
no,
happiness, but it's all within.
Yeah, it's
Perspective, right?
It's an inner journey. I understand people don't have the discipline, and everybody's in a rush. They want instantaneous enlightenment. So what do? They take all the shortcuts. Well, I'm going to do ayahuasca. I'm going to do magic mushrooms. I'm going to do marijuana. I'm going to do LSD. I'm going to do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, no, it's all artificial. Because at that point, you're chasing the experiences and you're not being love.
Okay.
This thing's about becoming love, because love is the frequency. All these other things is off frequency. It's not the same thing. Oh, you might see something, have some quote unquote enlightened experience, but it's all induced through artificial means. Okay. It's like the guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, world universal champion and everything. Turns out he did steroids all those years, right? Plus he was working out. But he's doing steroids because you got to get that extra stuff, right?
Yeah.
And later on, he has health problems with his heart and everything else. I mean, it messed him up. Well, I'm telling you, people, when it comes to spiritual pursuit, doing these artificial methods, seeking the experiences, is the same as doing steroids. Oh, no, it's changed somebody. This guy was depressed. Now he's not. Well, okay, great. People could give me examples of some shaman, like shamans are the shaman down there in Brazil did this. I'm going, what world was this shaman pronounced enlightened that you're listening to everything he says? You don't know what his life's like. You don't know who he is, what he is. He's a good chemist. Take these drugs, you'll have this experience. He's a travel guide. So I'm telling people, shortcuts don't make it.
Okay.
There's no shortcut to love. You just are love. You become love. You radiate love. That is the frequency of the divine.
Yeah.
Love is God. You are love, therefore you are God. You don't have to go out looking for God. God's within. Wake up.
Ta-da.
You're looking for your. If I was going to write another book, it's like if you're looking for the guru, look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror. Right?
Yeah.
I love
Look in the
that.
mirror.
I love that.
Good
So-
advice.
Everything you're looking for, you already have. Our problem is each of us is in a different resonance of vibration.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
You got some people that have abused their body with drugs and alcohol or mental illness and hate and anger and shame and guilt.
Yeah,
These things,
Prejudice.
they destroy your vibration.
yeah.
You can't find God with shame in your heart.
Mm,
You can't find God with guilt in your heart. You
mm.
can't find God unless you love you.
Mm.
Yes. Self-love
And
and forgiveness.
And you got to forgive you. If
Wow.
you've done those, then you realize the secret. Loving you is loving God. As simple, as crazy as that sounds, that's it. So that's what I'm doing, been doing, and continue to doing. And so I'm on this world journey. I'm going back out this coming year. In fact, I think I'm
Oh,
going to Sedona, Arizona in January, I think.
Oh, I just
Really?
mentioned that place a minute ago.
You did.
I called it.
see, that's one of those
There's people
places that I want to
bring me
go
there.
to.
We'll see if that happens. It hasn't been booked, but it's like,
Okay.
Where else are you
Ask-
planning on going?
I'll be in Honolulu, Hawaii the weekend before Super Bowl, giving
Oh.
a
Oh, wow.
sermon at a church in Honolulu and a workshop, healing
Okay.
workshop. And then I'll be in Pennsylvania,
PA.
probably Pittsburgh.
All right.
I'll be in North Carolina. I'll be in Ohio.
Wow.
Are you coming to Florida?
Yeah, right.
That's on my list. I will be back to Florida at some point.
Well, when you do, hit us up.
Yeah, let us know.
The northern part, Tampa Bay or Orlando.
Oh my God! Please
We're in
let us
Tampa.
know.
We're in
Please
Tampa.
let us know. Please
Yeah,
let
Tampa
us
Bay
know.
more likely because, more likely Tampa Bay area because
Yeah,
it just feels like a nice place to be.
it is. Yeah.
And then I'll be going to probably Japan
Ooh.
and maybe Singapore and Australia.
If you needed it,
I had all kinds of trips planned.
Oh no.
I mean, I got invitations, and I've probably turned down 80% of them because I reached a point on this last trip I was doing where 5 countries, in 50 days. I'm going, holy God, I'm really working at this thing.
You're a globe hopper for real.
I realized I can talk to more people with less energy just by doing Zoom talks.
Mhm.
And and the time I spend on all that travel, I just write more books, right?
Yeah, right.
I write more
Right.
books, and then the books go out. And then when I'm gone, my word is still out there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking now, how do I take my energy and multiply it? And the only way I can really do that is to go out, which I'm doing now, and find people that are spiritual seekers. They're not looking to become millionaires from the spiritual world.
Mm.
If they break even and make their expenses, they're happy. That's okay. But I'm not looking for people to go into business with spirituality. I'm looking for people that want to serve the higher source, the higher need. And I
Yeah,
want to
sure.
teach people higher forms of meditation and healing.
Okay.
And I want what I'm teaching and what I've learned in my almost 80, 15 months, I'll be 80. So I'm not
Wow.
80 yet. Still got 15 months. Okay.
Jumping ahead.
Well,
While I'm still,
You look
I'm
really
still
young
youth-
for being 79. So
yeah. I mean, I'm almost 80, right?
I
So
honestly only
while
thought you were
I'm-
like 55.
while I'm on this youth kick, I'm still kind of kicking.
Mhm.
I want to find people out there to extend my reach, my hands. I need additional hands. I need people out there that are willing to come to some retreats and workshops that I give and
Yeah.
do webinars online and get not just a weekend and now you're certified, go do it. No, I want people to really get deep into this thing. And so they're comfortable. I've given up looking for people like myself. I thought, well, I'll go out there and find people that have done what I've done and they're worthy. And no, nobody's going to go to India and stay in months in an ashram and then spend time in a cave and then, 20-hour day meditations and nobody's going to fast for 40 days. And I mean, nobody's going to do all like what I did. I mean, I know that, right? It was just like, no, they're not. Now I'd be happy if I find somebody that meditates once a day, great, twice a day, great. But if I get people that just are lovers of God, I can work with them.
Yeah.
I can work with that.
Cool.
So I'm at that point now where I am able to, this is going to sound egotistical, Nick, but I can actually give people energy. I can help work their frequency.
Okay.
And I can do that when I'm on the road. That's why I go on the road, because then I can actually do hands-on. People think it's all hands-on, but in truth, there's more healing power coming from me and the great ones. Not put myself in that category. And the great ones, meaning those guys.
Okay.
More healing power in the eyes than the hands. Now you look around, see, maybe some people are saying that, but I haven't heard them. But I'm telling you right now, it's the power of looking at people, eyeball to eyeball. It's
the eyes are the window to the soul, is what the phrase is, right?
Right.
More than you know. And when I'm dealing with people and I really see them, it's almost like a spiritual X-ray.
Oh.
If I can use that terminology, spiritual X-ray.
Well, we really need to meet up in Tampa then.
Right.
So
scan me.
So it's this process of me, and if I get people to spend time with me, not to listen to my words, but to absorb this unseen thing, which is just called energy. The energy feeds them what they need.
Okay.
And
Totally
wisdom is not born. I mean, they get information and they get knowledge from my books and inspiration and everything, and great. It opens a lot of doors and windows, and it gets them active as a seeker. But ultimately, it's not the hunger that makes you wise. It's when you surrender and you know nothing except love. And when you reach the point and realize, I know nothing, but I do know how to love, and I know I'm loved, and I know I want to love others. That's the key to the door. The message here, if I just sum it up, the message here really is there's only one reality: love.
Yes.
You could go, I got quirks and atoms and strings and gravity and
he's calling out all the theories.
Right.
All this crazy stuff going on. I'm saying, no, there's only love.
Yeah.
It's greater than gravity.
Love is all you need.
And I can't help but think of the relationship aspect. Everything is in relationship to each other, and love is the main thing of that.
Well, there's not even a relationship, because when you're just one, there's nothing to be related to.
That's true.
Oh, wow. You just, whoa. You don't even need relationship, because you just, oh my God, my mind just
it's like,
times.
I got a relationship.
It like had reverberations.
There's no relationship with God. It's just you.
Wow.
So everything gets down to this one reality. It's just called oneness.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a concept that's easy to say and very flippant to write about. But most people, just live in the now. People don't understand what that is. There's no other place you can live. That's why it's so stupid. All this great philosophy, just live in the now. No, there's no other place you can be. That's it. Because even when I say that word, that's the past. It's not even now anymore.
Oh, wow.
That's the past. This whole conversation, by the time it's out of my mouth, is past.
It is.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Can you do me a favor, please, and tell our audience where they can find you online?
They can find me online at www.revbillmcdonald.com.
Okay.
That's my website.
Okay.
My Facebook page is Rev Bill McDonald. That's original. And my Facebook page, ready for this? Rev Bill McDonald. And YouTube is Rev Bill McDonald. YouTube. And we're getting tough now.
Right.
And then my email address, no, it's not Rev Bill. My email address is Huey, like Huey Lewis in the news, Huey Huey576 at gmail.com. Huey
you.
being a Huey helicopter. 576 was my tail number.
Ah.
Of the aircraft I was in Vietnam that got shot down, and I got wounded and blown up.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a personal thing. It's like I survived. That was my temple.
Yeah.
I flew around Vietnam. That was my temple of light.
Gotcha.
Huey 576.
Cool.
And
thank
so
you for sharing that. I will have. Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's not my password, so don't make me try.
No.
But that's my email address.
Anybody that's watching this interview, if you have not seen the first interview with Reverend Bill, I suggest you go watch that.
We have parts 1, 2, and 3 on the channel. By the way.
Yeah.
And I will have your links up on the screen as you say them, and also in the video description box below. So guys, make sure to check that out. And for our audience that's sticking around till the end, thank you so much for listening to this conversation with Reverend Bill. Reach out to him if you need. Check out his YouTube if you need. And while you're here, please do us a favor and smash that like button. Click subscribe. Ring our little notification bell. Drop a lovely comment down below and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word.
All right.
Much love, peace, and namaste.
Namaste.